Next up, Raghi Iyengar and Scott Latch will present what's new for Manufacton.
Hi, welcome to the What's New in Manufacton session. My name is Scott Latch. I'm the product manager for Manufacton. My primary job is to help our development team understand what the needs of our customers are. So working closely with our customers and translating those needs into how we're going to develop the software. Been in the industry for about 20 years, and so I'll let Raghi introduce himself.
Thanks, Scott. Hi, I'm Raghi Iyengar. I'm the founder of Manufacton, and created it to bring the best of manufacturing to construction. I've been in the construction technology space for over 35 years. And as you all may have heard, Manufacton was acquired by ALLPLAN in March of this year. And I'm super excited about how things are progressing and where we can together take the product.
So yeah, Raghi, why don't we just start off here, and we'll just kind of give a general overview of what Manufacton is for anyone who may not know.
So in terms of what is Manufacton, Manufacton delivers prefab management solution from BIM to build, and with the idea that it's all about supporting customers with data-driven decisions, which can result in faster, better, and more sustainable construction. It's a solution in the cloud, and so people, whether they're in browsers or on Android or iOS phones or tablets, wherever they are in the office, at the job site, or in the factory, have real-time information about what's going on throughout the process. And Scott will go into that in a little more detail. Our customers, I'm happy to report, they've produced over 300,000 of these prefab building components in their factories, valued at about $20 billion or so. And those prefab components have actually gone into about 4,500 buildings. So it's really great to see our customers using Manufacton to support their core processes. And when we talk about the core processes, what we're really describing here is what they do is they're thinking about what it is that they want to, through the planning process of what it is that they want to produce in their factories, work with the design team to understand, hey, how is this going to be, how to provide all the design details needed for the factory to be able to produce it. Work with the procurement team to make sure that, hey, whatever materials and product and components are needed for the fabrication process are procured, and then they manage the actual production in Manufacton with all of the QA/QC that's done along the way, and track their inventory, both the purchased goods, but also whatever they're producing as assemblies, sub-assemblies, and so forth. And then with the idea that they take all of those things that are produced in the factory, ship it over to the job site, and complete the installation at the job site. So this is a set of pictures of kind of how that progresses through the factory all the way into the factory and out of the factory, just to kind of illustrate how our customers use Manufacton. And in terms of where we are in this sector, it's kind of Manufacton we've been used in the among mechanical subcontractors, electrical subcontractors, the panelizers, including like the glass facades and so forth, and even the volumetric modular, where they're producing rooms and modules and so forth that come as Lego blocks to be put together at the job site. So that's where it's already been used there. And we're super excited about Manufacton becoming part of ALLPLAN, and now we are expanding it into the steel and then later into precast and as well, so that we can truly become deliver a multi-material DFM, design for manufacturing assembly solution for the industry. So Scott, if you want to jump in and kind of talk about what where you've been taking Manufacton over the past few months, and kind of what's new with it, and provide some insights there.
Yeah, sure, Raghi. So As we, as we joined ALLPLAN and Nemetschek as a whole, Open BIM is a big part of what's happening in the company and what we support. And one of the, the great tools that we have here at ALLPLAN is BIM Plus to help us kind of bring in information from any number of locations, any number of design softwares actually, whether that be SDS2, ALLPLAN, or even third-party software out there. We're able to bring that information into BIM Plus, and then Manufacton's able to utilize that information. So we've been spending a lot of time, looking at how we can use BIM Plus as a means to bring that information into Manufacton from the BIM models. So one of the first things that we did here was really embed the BIM Plus viewer into Manufacton. That allows us to view the model in context, view what we're building in context. So you can see what stages are, the various elements that are being produced are in the process. So the folks in the field can go in, look at a model and see, okay, this beam that we're expecting in this particular example, this beam that we're expecting will be showing, is in production or it's in detailing. And we don't need to, send emails back and forth. They can see everything in context right within the BIM Plus viewer. And one of the great things about the viewer is, we've sort of made it specific to Manufacton, so all the controls and everything are specific to Manufacton, but we also have a link directly out to BIM Plus. So if you want to take advantage of all the great things, doing takeoffs or doing measurements or anything like that with the BIM Plus model, you can jump out to BIM Plus and take advantage of all the great tools that they have in their viewer for that model that you have in Manufacton. The other thing that we were able to do in order to make those connections and be able to see those elements in the various stages, we have to connect that up, connect up the material order or the production orders with the elements in the model. So we've enabled the ability to make production orders directly from the BIM model. In the past, we've had to do this from other third-party, plugins to other third-party applications. Now we don't need to do that. We can do that directly from BIM Plus. Those applications can upload to BIM Plus, and then we can start to pull in that information from the BIM model directly into Manufacton. So utilizing, again, SDS2, it was one that we focused on quite a bit in the beginning, but we're also continuing to focus on ALLPLAN, and other design applications that can publish information into BIM Plus. So yeah, we can create those production orders directly in Manufacton. And then one of the great things is with the SDS2 integration, we're able to pull in all of the drawings, all the DXFs, all the NC files directly from the SDS2 information that's being published directly into BIM Plus. So, we've done some work on the SDS2 side to improve that import into BIM Plus, and now we're able to bring that information right into Manufacton. So have all the information at your fingertips right in those production orders as beams in this case are being produced. In addition to the drawings, NC files, and DXF files, we're also accessing the bill of materials. So the bill of materials will give us a full listing of all the materials that you need to build out that beam assembly or column assembly or whatever it is that you're building inside of Manufacton. So we're able to take advantage of all the great work the SDS2 team is doing to inform their model and bring that in for production inside of Manufacton.
So Scott, this is really interesting that now that you know that BIM Plus is in the cloud and Manufacton is in the cloud, and the fact that you've connected the two, so you have both model as well as all of the details with Manufacton all connected, I think this is really interesting where it gives you the opportunity for, in terms of who within our customers organization wants to actually establish the production plan and and maintain the production plan and be responsive to what is needed by the people in the field as they're receiving it onto the job site, right? Because now you've got, it could be the designer, the detailers who could actually set up the production plan through after publishing it into BIM Plus and doing it in BIM Plus, or it could be the factory operations team coming inside there and saying, okay, this is how I think I want to set up the production plan. Or you could have somebody that's kind of coordinating the process, right? Being able to to tie that together and saying, hey, we are going to kind of be the team that's working between the design team and the production team, saying, okay, everything is good, coordinating that with the field folks in order to make sure everything is solid before production can begin. So it provides all kinds of flexibility, knowing that both BIM Plus and Manufacton are in the cloud.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's a great point. One of the things that we're enabling here is that anybody can create production orders from the model. Up until now, we've had to, rely on knowledge of what that design application, how to use that design application. So now anybody can create a production order from that model data directly from BIM Plus. So, the VDC person will basically upload that model directly to BIM Plus. And then from that point forward, whether that's somebody in the field who's going to decide what spools are going to make for the electrical or mechanical space, they can do that. Or, if it's just, how they want to deliver those beams or produce those beams, the shop manager can go in and create those production orders, as they need to start producing those items in the shop. So you don't have to have any sort of technical expertise when it comes to how to create those models, but you can still access the model and create those production orders directly from the model.
Nice.
Yep. So another improvement that we've made, unrelated to the BIM Plus side, so we've heard from customers that they have a lot of flexibility in how they're building out their how they're producing their elements or items in the shop, whatever that might be. So they have that flexibility, but one of the things they lack some flexibility on was how they wanted to ship those items out. So, you had to produce everything all up front before you could even plan out your shipping. So what we've done is added some flexibility into the shipping side of things. So we've got shipping managers that are able to plan out shipping orders ahead of time and basically live directly in the shipping module of Manufacton, create those orders, plan them out, and then come back in as those items are being produced and they're completed and put into the loading dock area or an area that says, okay, these things are ready to get shipped out. They can start to add those items directly into Manufacton as into those planned out shipping orders. So it adds a great deal of flexibility because those production items can come from any number of production orders. It doesn't have to be a single production order or you're picking off a select group of production orders. You're going to get a full listing of all the items that are complete, and you add those directly into the shipping orders. When you're shipping them out, essentially printing off a bill of lading, handing that to the driver, and they can just head off to the job site to deliver those items.
Nice. So Scott, it's interesting how all this is about flexibility, right? Flexibility in terms of the workflows, flexibility for, so if we talk about this in the context of DFMA for AEC, the design for manufacturing and assembly in the context of AEC. So now you're talked about with BIM Plus, we have a nice open BIM platform where we have the flexibility of what design software is used in order to create the models, etc. And then you just talked about, with connecting up with Manufacton and saying, hey, there's a lot of flexibility in the factory on how to manufacture these things, right? In terms of you can create sub-assemblies, you can create, and then put them into inventory and then bring those in and make them part of an assembly and take a couple of assemblies and create a super assembly, do all of that flexibility for how you want to manufacture things in the factory. And as you were saying, our customers were talking about how we want that same flexibility in terms of being able to deliver to the job site. So the flexibility in shipping in order to be able to say, hey, I want to be able to create a shipping plan and then move all of these things over, and pulling it all together. And then clearly, once we get there, finishing out the assembly at the job site in order to complete the installation process. So it's really that ability to be both open BIM, multi-material DFMA, but also as a workflow and as a platform, providing an incredible amount of flexibility so that companies can take best advantage of their internal processes, their skill sets, their business needs, etc., and how they can kind of adopt this over the life cycle. So that's where I'm super excited to see where this is going to go already with the work that's been done over the past several months.
Yeah, and it's really about making it as easy as possible for each person who uses Manufacton along the way. So, as we continue to improve the product, that's a huge focus of ours to, while the process can get complex, we want to make it as simple as possible for the person who uses Manufacton for the task that they're trying to do. So, yeah, and this is just one example of that workflow. And thanks to our customers for providing great feedback. This is one of those things that came from a customer, and it made perfect sense. So we decided to jump on it and make this improvement. So yeah, so that's I think what we wanted to cover today. Yeah, I don't have any closing thoughts, Raghi, or anything like that.
Just it's been 6 months since Manufacton has been part of ALLPLAN, the Nemetschek family, and it's been super exciting to see the progress that that you guys have already made with with the BIM Plus and Manufacton, and already like seeing how this from expanding into the steel fabrication, where you can see from SDS2 coming in through BIM Plus through Manufacton, and so it's already seeing the start of some really interesting work that you guys have all been doing. So excited to continue to see where else we can take this overall solution.
Yeah, very, very excited as well. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. And yeah, we look forward to talking to you all in the future and presenting what we're going to be doing next time. So thanks for joining us.
Great. Thanks, everyone.